Okay, so today we go straight to the ComfyUI content. We have the Z-Image Fun ControlNet node. It just got updated in the recent ComfyUI update. And because the Alibaba PAL Z-Image TurboFunCtl Union, right now it has the 2.0 versions. Just checked it. One day ago, it also got the 2.1 versions. It says it has optimizations for speed, so that'll help a lot with generation speed when you're using this for ControlNet. And it also has Inpainting. That's something we're focusing on today. Even though this is a ControlNet model, it can do Inpainting as well. So let's see how that goes. So in ComfyUI, there's a Z-Image Fun control that we need to update in order to play around with the differentiation diffusion model for Inpainting with this ControlNet model. So first, stop your ComfyUI and do a git pull. For me, I'm going to use git pull and use the master branch in the ComfyUI GitHub repo. So what I'll do is update some code and the Python code as well. In my ComfyUI, you can see some indicators that I've updated some model files, and once again, do a pip install requirements.txt to get the front end of ComfyUI updated, as well as some workflow templates that are updated for the current versions of ComfyUI. So after all your stuff is updated, you can get started. Just run your main.py and boot up ComfyUI again. Okay, so after you update your ComfyUI, in the ComfyUI interface here, just press F5 to refresh and you'll see the update take effect. And now you'll have the Image Fun ControlNet here. So right here, when we're using it, just like before, we connect the Fun Image Turbo Function Union 2.0. This is not the 1.0 model, so make sure you've downloaded it from Alibaba PAL's Hugging Face page and grab the 2.0 model. So click to this page where you see the Union 2.0 ControlNet, then click into the files and download the 2.0. Or, just one day ago, they released the 2.1 version, which, as mentioned here, speeds up generation time as well. So either one works for the Inpainting Fun ControlNet model. I'm going to use the 2.0 since I've already downloaded the 2.0 model. And you'll see there's an Inpaint image field here and also a mask regions input. This is where we're coming from with our image. Now I've loaded an image as an example here, so you can basically right-click and go to the mask editor options here and then choose whatever regions you want to mask. So for example, I want to clear that up, and let's do that again. I just want a face here and see how that's going to look. And after we have the mask, we'll need to create an empty latent image. And this output will pass to the K-sampler. This will be another way for the latent noise to pass into the K-sampler data. But I'll find out that using this way is more direct. We're just letting the AI know to fill in the blank for this latent image data noise that we pass into it. As long as we set the right dimension size for the latent image data, that's going to be fine. So right here, let's try this time. We can load up this and only inpaint the face instead of the whole region. Okay, so notice that we have the image generated and the size. If we want to enhance the image, we can connect it to another K-sampler with the Z-image model in the next steps. So I've done another step here. As in other workflows, you can think of it as a second pass or second sampling step. So what you have is, after the image output, you can put that into image upscale by 1.5x or 2.0x, whatever number you want to upscale. Make it a little larger in dimension, then run it through another K-sampler for processing. So for the models here in this part, we don't need the fun control, to be honest. We just need the model data from the base model, the LoRa, and then we have the model sampling Aqua. So, right in the model sampling Aqua flow, this is all we need for our next steps. For the second pass sampling, that's good enough to carry on with our steps. The positive and negative prompts remain the same as what we have in the first group here. Then we have the latent image that was gotten from the VAE decode of the first image output that we have. So I'm going to create groups here, just to make it easier to recognize and see the difference. So let's say this is the Z model sampling 2. That way, you'll have a clearer picture of what belongs where. And this is the first group that we're playing with for the Z-Image ControlNet Inpaint. So we've separated two groups here, ideally giving a much clearer picture of what's going on. And once again, if you take a closer look at the dimensions of this image, it's a larger size than what we got from our first group generated by the ControlNet Inpaint, because I've upscaled it 1.5 times and also set the denoise to 0.5. That means there's a little more difference compared to our first generated image. Adding more sampling enhances the overall details of the image. How does that look? You'll see a comparison with more detail. Let's say we're going to do a side-by-side note between the two image outputs. So run this again. You'll see this is the first pass image from ControlNet Inpaint. After that, you can add more details. Even the wall behind, you'll see more detail in the second pass, and we also get even more detail on the character's face. Because the Z image model creates more realistic texture, once you add extra sampling steps, it eventually creates even more texture and more detailed skin. And overall, what's on this existing image will look a little different, but not like a totally different person. You'll notice the skin color, especially on the neck and chest. Here you see it looks more like human skin rather than that totally plastic white or plastic-looking skin texture. So that's one way of upscaling. Another way I've used, and this comes from my existing Qwen 3 VL text-to-image workflow that I did before, is using two samplers and then another node called Upscale Image, which I'm using the SD Upscale method. It's the good old custom node we've had since the Stable Diffusion days. We used this a lot back then, and it works with Z image. I like using this more than other methods because it has its own flexibility. You can customize how you connect the model. For example, you can add another extra LoRa if you want to enhance skin details or facial features of your character, and you can choose your own upscale models for the image. That's a big plus. So let's say I'm going to use the same method here. I'll copy this group and move it to a new group for inpainting. We'll use pretty much the same setup, except we don't need the conditioning because we already have it, and we'll reorganize how this connection looks here. Okay, so once we connect the ultimate SD upscale, this is another way to upscale, maybe an easier way I think for managing your image upscale. So once we have this group, we can run just this group to see how it looks. Now notice that I'm using a very typical upscale model. I don't need any extra fancy stuff because the Z models are already aiming for better aesthetics with fewer artifacts from other models involved in the runtime, right? So we won't use anything crazy like ultra sharp or other aggressive models. Instead, I'll stick with the Real-ESRGAN 4X upscale model. So here, we've got the generated image, and I've played around with different settings as well. But overall, how it connects with the custom nodes stays the same. You can still play around with denoise, sampler steps, and scheduler methods. Here, I've also done a 2x upscale of the image. So as you can see right here, this is from the second pass image, image A. And now we've moved to image B with the ultimate SD upscale. The face and everything get refined, but sometimes it can look over-sharpened with ultimate SD upscale. So that's another method to upscale and enhance resolution. In general, you can also use the SeedVR2, SeedVR2 that we've been playing around with for video upscaling before. A lot of workflows I've done also use this, and yes, you can use this method to upscale a single image too. Just import one image into the node. Let's say I'm going to use the second pass image, connect it to the SeedVR2, and then connect it with the diffusion model and VAE of SeedVR2. After we connect this, we set the resolution and max resolution here, so 4096 would be 4K resolution. Other settings can stay the same. Keeping the control numbers fixed is fine. So the image is generated. The upscaled version. I'll call this Upscale Method B. There's no exact answer for what the best upscale model is. It really depends on what you're looking for in your upscaled image. This one, SeedVR2, tends to stay closer to the overall look of your input image. It just enhances the resolution. So let's put a compare node here so you can clearly see the difference. I'll assign the SeedVR2 upscale to image B and the SD upscale to image A. You'll see there's a difference. This is image A, and as we slide over to image B, SeedVR2, you'll notice VR2 retains some of the character's skin texture and even adds a bit more noise as it starts upscaling. Not only are wrinkles enhanced, but the skin texture becomes even stronger than what we had in Sampler 2. Whereas in Sampler 2, you don't get super strong skin texture and the wrinkles aren't that sharp. But once we go to SeedVR2 Upscale, the result becomes much stronger in those pixel level details. And of course, if you look at this output here, which comes from the SD Upscale custom node, that's the old Stable Diffusion way. Yes, it smooths the skin, but it can also reintroduce artifacts into the texture. That's just how it is. But in some cases, it works well for non-realistic images. If you have anime-style, 3D, or fantasy-style images, this is a good solution. But for realistic images, even SeedVR2, I don't really think it's the best way to upscale. Yes, it looks simple and hands-off, everything's left to the AI, but I'd rather use multiple sampling groups to gradually upscale these images to 4K if needed, just to preserve the original aesthetics we want from the generated image. Multiple sampling is, I think, more preferable for me with this kind of realistic image style. Yeah, so that's it for how these workflows work with Fun ControlNet and the Inpainting features enabled in version 2.0. As they mentioned in the post, Inpainting is fully included in this feature, and with the new update of the Z-Image custom nodes in ComfyUI, we've got different methods to run and play around with your image. I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day. See ya.